Here we are with the Yukimasa Fusion Calendar. This is going live today, so I thought we'd break it down. There is room for missing a couple events. I mean, if we look in game really quickly, you can see what we're talking about here. The interesting thing to note here is the number of champions that we're getting, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 events in total. Now, obviously, if we look back in the game, there is 16 here, right? 4, 8, 12, 16. So there's 16 events. There's 16 opportunities to get these champions, right? But you'll be able to skip out on 4 events if you have enough resources to do the summon rush here, right? If you do the summon rush, you can skip out on 4 events. Otherwise, if you only do part of the summon rush, then you'll need to do everything starting December 15th all of the way up to December 31st. So a bit of a stacked time. But there are some things we can do here to make sure that we're saving our resources. Now, before we continue, click the link in the description or scan the QR code over there on the screen, and you'll get all of these champions as you level up on a new Raid Shadow Legends account. If we have a look here, the Gear Hunters event, right, and the Ice Golem tournament and the Champion Training Tournament all sort of happen around the same time. Gear Hunters starts first, but you'll be able to do some Gear Hunters whilst the Ice Golem is tournament. You're definitely going to be able to complete that. And if you could put some food in Ice Golem, maybe do Ice Golem 3, you could get through Ice Golem and do Champion Training as well. So you could triple up on these. Not only that, but if we look at Dragon Tournament here, it also coincides with the start of Gear Hunters. So you could leave most of your Dragon Tournament to the 17th and then do a bunch of that leading into Gear Hunters, which would then allow you to do Ice Golem level 3, stage 3 with some food to do Champion Training and Ice Golem together. You're not going to get as much XP as you would in the campaign, so keep that in mind. But that's a good strategy there. Now, if we move on down the list, you'll see that there is a Fire Knight tournament on its own. That doesn't really line up with anything. It just about starts as the Champion Training Tournament ends. And, you know, throughout the rest of that week, we're going to get Summer Rush, Arena Takedown, Gear Enhancement, but energy-wise, don't need to worry about that. We will be able to do a bit of Fire Knight again as this Champion Training Tournament starts. Now, what you'll notice is there's actually 2 of the champions in this event. It's one event, but you can get 2 of these Sylvain the Paramours. So actually, I was wrong at the start. There's not 16 events, there's 15. But you're going to have to go all the way if you want to get both of these, and you don't go for the Madak and the Summon Rush, right? Now, the Champion Training event and the Gear Hunters event and the Spider Tournament down here is, in fact, stacked up together, which is really interesting. Let me just make that a little bit clearer here. So what we can do here, we've got quite a stack of events. Look at this. Champion Training, Gear Hunters, and Spider Tournament, all available to be completed at the same time. You're going to have to do a lot of Champion Training, but that's going to be 1, 2, 3 champions there, 4 in one single sort of energy blast, I suppose, right? 4 champions. Champion Training, Gear Hunters event, and Spider Tournament all together. There's another Champion Chase down here, which is going to be a pain if you're running low on resources. So if you've got any other champions that you could potentially fuse or get from other sources, definitely do that first, right? And then we have a Gear Enhancement event on the end. Now let's have a look in game to see if this champion is even worth it. So we have Yukimasa, the Demon of Ice. So it's a legendary attack Shadowkin, but interestingly, they have a block active skills debuff, a block damage, ignore block damage, and a freeze debuff. Interesting. Hang on. Yeah, 75% chance of placing a freeze debuff. Attacks on enemy, steals all turn meter, and fills this champion turn meter by 50% whenever this champion skips a turn. Whenever this champion skips a turn because one of those debuffs, their next active skill will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Interesting. So let's read through these carefully now. Attacks all enemies. Has a 25% chance of placing a blocked active skills debuff. This debuff cannot be resisted if there's at least one enemy under a stun, freeze, sleep, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification. Okay. Instantly activates the skill whenever this champion skips a turn because of a stun, freeze, sleep, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuff. Wow, that's interesting. That is interesting. And then this one attacks all enemies will ignore block damage buffs. Has a 75% chance of placing a freeze. So that's where you get the freeze debuff. This debuff cannot be resisted if there is one enemy under one of these debuffs. So you can put down debuffs very effectively without having to build into accuracy. Revives one random ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter if this skill did not kill an enemy. Revives all allies with 50% HP and 50% turn meter if the skill kills at least one enemy. So whilst this is an attack champion, this is a Shadowkin Reviver right here. Shadowkin Reviver on a 4-turn cooldown. You can get it down to 3 turns, but you're going to need to book it up a lot. But then you've got a full team revive ability if you can do enough damage to secure a kill on a champion. Pretty good. He's going to be very, very useful in faction wars. That is without a shadow of a doubt. And then we've got Aura increases ally attack and arena battles by 33%. So overall, a pretty good attack champion that can also double up as a reviver. Perfectly fit for Shadowkin faction wars. I think a lot of people are going to be happy to get their hands on this champion if they're still needing good champions for Shadowkin. Now we've also got Madok. Eyes of Sky Iron, a dwarf. It's an epic dwarf. Look at him. He's looking pretty cool. Attacks one enemy has an 80% chance of transferring one random debuff from this champion to the target. Interesting. Attacks all enemies, an AoE there, on a 4-turn cooldown. 75% chance of removing one random buff from all enemies. Has a 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs instead if the target is under a block buffs or block active skills debuff. Interesting. And then this one is where it gets interesting. Beast Fella attacks one enemy 3 times. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing a block buff for 2 turns. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a block active skills debuff. The third hit has a 50% chance of playing a debuff spread effect, taking one random debuff from the target and placing it on all other enemies. So quite a good debuffer here. And the passive. This champion does 15% more damage to enemies whose accuracy is less than this champion's. So, even though this is an epic, this does sound like quite an epic. You know? Like, I wouldn't mind having an extra one of him. If I've got the resources, I might try and do the whole event and get myself a Madok Eyes of Sky on, because he does sound quite good. And then we've got the rare, which is a Void Sylvain the Paramour. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each critical hit will ignore 5% of the target's defense. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a weakened debuff. And then places a 25% increased attack and a 50% increase critical rate buff on this champion for 2 turns and grants an extra turn. Pretty basic. Not going to expect much from Sylvain. So that is a look at the Fusion and the Fusion calendar. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, please consider subscribing.